गुड मॉर्निंग प्यारे बच्चों। आज हम लोग डायरेक्टर ऑफ एजुकेशन के द्वारा जारी की गई वर्कशीट 12 पर चर्चा करेंगे। आज की हमारी वर्कशीट एसिड बेस और सॉल्ट्स के उस टॉपिक से रिलेटेड है जिसमें हम स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द एसिड और बेस पर बात करेंगे। स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ एसिड बेस इसमें है कि व्हाट इज द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द एसिड बेस। They measure the ability of the acid and bases to produce hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions. That means the amount of the hydrogen ions which is produced in a acid gives the ability or strength of the acid, whereas the amount of the hydroxide ions give the strength of ability or the measurement of the base. And when the acid is 100% ionized, then the solution gives the more hydrogen ions, whereas this is called as the strong acid, like as sodium hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid. Whereas the acid which gives less hydrogen ions is called as the weak acid, tartric acid, acetic acid. These are the weak acids. And the examples is the hydrochloric acid, and acetic acids of the sum of the same concentrations. Both of them produce the different amount of the hydrogen ions because of the HCl's, which is the strong acid, dissociates completely and produce more hydrogen ions, whereas the acetic acid which dissociate partially and produce less hydrogen ions. Similarly, the bases which is 100% ionized in the solutions give the more hydroxide ions. Then this is called as the strong base, like as sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, and the bases which gives the less hydroxide ions is called as the weak base, like as ammonium hydroxide. There are very few strong bases, like as the sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, and the type of the salts. We have read about the type of salts. We have noted about the during the neutralization reactions, the acid and base when combined to react together, they form the salt and water. The nature of the salt depend upon the which type of the acids combined or which type of the base. That means when the strong acid react with the strong base, then the neutral salt is formed, like as sodium chloride, potassium sulfate. And the HCl's combined with the NaOH, it forms the NaCl's. When the H2SO4 sulfuric acid combined with the potassium hydroxide, it forms the potassium sulfate. Both of them are the neutrals because the acid HCl is the strong, H2SO4 is so strong acid, whereas the NaOH and KOH, sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, both are the strong base. And the when the salt of the weak acid combined with the strong base, then the salt is the basic, like as sodium carbonate, sodium acetate. In both of them, the acid is the so in the case of sodium carbonate, acid is the carbonic acid. In case of the sodium acetate, acid is the acetic acid. And the base in both of them, both this case, the sodium hydroxide is the strong base. Another acetic Acetic salt, when the strong salt of the strong acid combined with react with the weak base, it form the acetic salt. Like as when the HCl hydrochloric acid react with the calcium hydroxide, it forms the calcium carbonate. In this case, the acid hydrochloric acid is strong, whereas the base calcium hydroxide is the weak way. So the salt is the acetic. When the weak acid combined with the weak base, then also they form the neutral salt. Like as when the carbonic acid combined with the ammonium hydroxide NH4, then it forms the ammonium carbonate. Some of the importance of the daily importance of the pH is given. I guess when the pH of the range water is less than 5.6, then it is acid range, and such acid range going to the reverse and decrease the pH value of the waters. When the pH value decreases, the acidity increases, and this acidity is harmful for the aquatic life. Another in our digestive systems, HCl produced in the stomach, which help in the digestions, which kill the pathogens or microorganisms present in the foods, as well as it also help in the modifications of the um, inactive protein, inactive enzymes into active enzymes, so the digestion of the protein take place. But sometimes due to indigestions, excess of the acids is forms, and like in this case it leads to the excess of the acids indigestions, and these indigestions is removed or take place by the taking of the antacids, like as milk of magnesia MgOH whole twice, as well as sodium bicarbonate NaHCO3. It helps in the neutralizing the effect of the excess acid, because both of them are the basic in natures and they neutralize the acids by the neutralization reactions. Again, when the pH become lower than 5.5 in our mouth, because of the degradations of the sugar present in our food by the bacteria which is present in our mouth, and this lead to the tooth decay. The tooth is covered with the hardest part of the substance of the body enamels, but when the pH is lower than 5 points, it regularly degraded, and they lead to the tooth decay. And this tooth decay process will be prevented by using the toothpaste, because toothpaste is the alkalines in nature and help in the protection from the tooth decay. Again, when the bees stings leaves of the street, causes the pains and irritations, and cured by the mild base like as baking soda NaHCO3, and sting hairs of the needles leaves which is present in the forest, and leaves inject formic acid causing burning pains, and it also be nullified by the action of the bases. Against the pH of the soils, which is most truly pH of the soils is the basics, some of the basics, but when some of the pH is affected by the nutrients the plants, when the soils become the acidic due to increasing on the use of the fertilizers, this can be neutralized by the using the quick limes or calcium carbonate. Quick lamps, calcium oxide, calcium carbonate. After that, we are going to take some of the questions. There also point with our bodies work with the 7 to 7.8. This is the pH range for optimal action of the body. And then the questions is identify each salt acidic or basic or neutrals, and this the KCl's Na2 and Na3, both of them made up of strong acid and a strong base, so they are the neutrals, whereas ammonium sulfate is made up of the strong acid, whereas the weak base, so it is acidic. I guess which the salt, this is the question answers. And here we see that the SKCls is neutrals because of the acid is the SCLs with the strong acid, and base is the NaOH which is strong base, same as NaO3 is neutrals because of the HNO3 and NaOH. Where in the case of the ammonium sulfate is the acidic because the acid is the H2SO4 strong, where the base is the ammonium hydroxide with the weak base. After that, the question second is the magnesium chloride is made from which acid and which base? Magnesium chloride, like HCl's and MgOH. HCl is the acid or MgOH whole 2 is the base. Third questions, why the advice to brush your teeth after every meals? Because the brushings of our teeth after meals, the best way to prevent the tooth decay and keep the teeth healthy. Some foods or drinks, particularly the high of carbohydrate and sugars, stimulate the growth of the oral bacteria, which produces the acid, and the acids produced degraded by the sugars by bacteria lowered or decreases the pH of our mouth lower than 5.5. The acid attack the enamels with the hardest substance on the body, and tooth decay start. Brushings of our teeth after eating reduces the growth of the bacteria, also helps in the production of the enamels from damage. Short, we sold the acid produced by the degradations of the sugars present in the food by bacteria lower the pH of our mouth, and from below the 5.5 they lead to the tooth decay, and toothpaste which have the alkalines protect the tooth from tooth decay. Here the third B questions in the HCl which acid produced in the stomachs, the HCl produced in the stomach. Again, third C, the acid rains. What is the effect of the acid rains on the aquatic wildlife? We know the acid rains which has lower the pH of the water bodies and increases the acidity of water body. It can be deadly to the aquatic wildlife, and it has very harmful effect to the aquatic animals, and it also causes the death of the aquatic animals because of the environment will change. Again, what is the antacid and what is their natures? How can it be work? What is the name? Examples: antacid is the base, alkalis, which is opposite to of the acids, and acids help in the neutralizing the effect of the excess acids, like acids which forms in our stomachs. So when the acid forms increases because of the indigestions. regularly it works in the proper amount, but when because of the indigestions the amount is increases, then the antacid neutralizes. And the example of the antacid, the milk of magnesia, whereas the baking soda or sodium bicarbonate, both of the common antacid. Fifth question. Again, fifth questions. Or the given the optimal growth of the plant take place in 7.2, but the soils, the pH of the soils found to be 5.6. Then how can it be used? Which compound is used to uh, adjust their pH so that the growth of the plant take place? We note where the pH of the soils is the 5.6, means the nature of the soils is acidic. Calcium carbonate or quicklime should be added. Both of them are the basic. Both of them are basic, and so that the pH of the adjust to the acidic to basic or acidic to alkaline, and so that the uh, plant will grow suitably. Thanks. I hope that it helped in your understanding of this worksheet. Thank you.